Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's really not much more I can add than what you've already said in terms of laying out the purpose of this hearing. It's beyond unfortunate that we even have to have this hearing, but this hearing is imperative. I'll just ask that my own opening statement just be entered into the record.
Without objection.
Reading through the testimony, going through the briefing here, it is outrageous what you've had to endure. I appreciate your courage coming forward. It's an obvious lack of leadership. The culture of cover-up is pervasive. To have allowed this to continue for decades shows the extent of the problem. This committee is not going to solve the problem. It has to be solved within the services themselves, within government agencies. This is the permanent subcommittee investigation. We should be the premier investigatory and oversight body of the United States Senate. I agree with Senator Blumenthal when he said that the Coast Guard needs to do more to cooperate. We have gotten some records in response to a joint letter that we sent. I'm glad you mentioned the fact that we have not yet got one email talking about the internal discussion of why they decided to withhold the results of fouled anchor report for 3.5 years. It wasn't, by the way, their decision after 3.5 years to finally give that to Congress. Fortunately, we had CNN, a news organization that was inquisitive enough to do investigative reporting and reveal this. So they didn't come clean on their own. This was exposed, and they then came clean prior to that public disclosure. What I am hoping you will do, Mr. Chairman, is if they do not respond on time, and there's no reason they cannot start a rolling production of documents. I mean, this is not that hard to go into emails, do searches, and start producing some of these documents in terms of what was communication that resulted in this 3.5-year cover-up. So I guess what I'm saying is if they do not produce those documents, or at least begin the production of those critical emails on the date we've given them, I want and I will support you in issuing a subpoena. And I hope we do that.
We will certainly take that action if necessary.
But I'd like to take this moment, I don't get a whole lot of opportunities here, to expand a little bit, because you talked about the culture of cover-up, and that's not just in the Coast Guard. It's also within the Department of Defense, and not just on these issues, on a host of issues. It's also in DHS. It's throughout federal agencies. And, Mr. Chairman, I've written you a couple pretty lengthy letters over the weekend. I'm hoping you've had a chance to review that. I just want to talk to those issues. One of the letter is requesting the issue subpoenas to HHS on the fact that they've not been responsive, certainly to my oversight, my investigation requests, as relates to the cover-up of the creation of the coronavirus. And for example, Anthony Fauci's funding of the Wuhan lab. In particular, through FOIA requests, HHS has provided something like 4,000 pages to a FOIA request, not to Congress, to a FOIA request of Anthony Fauci, Francis Collins, other people's emails. They're heavily redacted. Congress is not subject to those redactions. So we know the 4,000 pages exist. As an accommodation to HHS, we said, well, we're interested in these 400 pages. We want to see those unredacted. They didn't give them to us. What they did allow is over the course of many months, they allowed us to go into a secure room, and they provide those documents unredacted. We couldn't take copies. We could take notes. Again, we asked for 400 pages. We've been able to review 350. We're down to the last 50 pages. This has been over a year. This is what they produced to us so far. Now, I don't know about you, but this makes me pretty curious about what HHS is covering up in emails between Anthony Fauci as it relates to his funding of the Wuhan lab. So I'm asking you to issue a subpoena to HHS to get these and other documents I requested on the gain of function research and the cover-up of HHS in terms of their funding of it.